Alright, welcome back. We are here in a Crusader Musketeer single axle van. It's quite a smaller one with, as you can see behind me, don't mind the battery. We're just waiting on the batteries to turn up. So we'll do a video at a later date. We'll finish this video off with once we've done a full install of the batteries in there. So like I said, it's quite a small-ish van, single axle, just a 2-berth, still able to fit a boatload of solar on the roof, 1040 watts total, which is awesome. It's all coming in through a 30 amp and a 50 amp solar charger. So this is where the original system was, under the bed. Same area that's been taken up, but full Victron retrofit. Completely removed the old projector system and completely removed the old projector screen, and then added in an isolating switch for all our 12 volts. So the black switch turns all of our 12 volt off, turn the black switch on, and all of our 12 volt turns back on. Now on this van, the customer request the fridge be outside of the isolating switch, and then they've got a powered toilet. That is a composting toilet which has got the spinning motor. So those two units, because there's also a fan in here as well, so those two units are outside of the isolating switch, and then you've got water pump on the left side here. Again, you would have seen under the bed smart signal converter, so we've got the tanks as well. So main system, 3 kVA multi-plus, standard in a lot of our systems. This is going to get 2 batteries, but like I said, we'll show you they're going to be the Element3 410s. We're just waiting on them to come in. 50 amp DC charger with a fuse on the incoming side of the DC charger, and then the DC charger 1 is the fuse on the outgoing side of the DC charger. 2 solars, so we've got 2 220 watt panels on the roof and 3 200. So the 3 200s are through the 50 amp and the 2 220s are through the 30 amp. Our solar isolators are down here. Solar main switch 1 is for the 50, which is also labeled solar 1. Solar 2 is our 30, and it's on solar main switch 2. Next to that, 240 RCDs, input and output for the inverter. This little fuse panel here is the fuse panel that is outside of the isolating system. This is our standard Victron system fuse, which I explained to the customers what we do with that. And then our isolator, which is down here, low voltage disconnect or battery protect, is doing the main 12 gang fuse panel. And then there are all your negatives. We've got a little negative bus down here as well. Smart signal converter from RV Electronics. Very good unit that Steve designed. Works an absolute treat. Sends the signal from the standard like 5-pin 9-volt battery RV Electronics sensors into a resistive reading, so that can work with the servo, which we've got down here, and then that's spitting all the information out to the screen. And then just a relay down here, which is for our water pump switch. Above the door, we've got our HDMI extension, our switching, signals, and our screen power, all running retrofitted up here with the old screen, because the old screen ran off just an RJ12 cable. And then this is the only other section where they had covered it with one of our Trafalite labels. Alright, so at the screen above the door, you can see we've got our solar coming in, 50 amp and our 30 amp. Both arrays are in series, so we're getting 70 volts in at 12.3 amps. Swap across on the screen, and we've got our front fresh, rear fresh, and our rear grey. So our rear grey does have some liquid in there, and then standard again with our setup on our servo screens. I always take turn off the adaptive brightness and bring the brightness down 2 points from the top, just because of the HDMI extension. You do have the possibility of burning that out. You definitely would if you had it at full on the USB-A extension, but we run a separate power circuit up to here, and there's actually a USB converter behind this panel. So at the front of the van, new 16mm twin DC charging circuit. Now, they had 16mm here for factory, but it was actually an aluminium core. So we've obviously just run our own one in a copper core, but just one thing to be very mindful of, that there was already 2 16mm coming to the front, but they were both aluminium core. So yeah, not ideal. And then we've got a Anderson plug, input output Anderson plug, input for a solar blanket with the regulator, and then output for fridge, compressor, whatever you want to run. That's the van. Like I said, small van, single axle, heaps of solar, and 820 amp hours of lithium. So they're going to have an absolute abundance of power to go traveling with. Tried to keep this one short and sweet. If you've got any questions, ask away. If you've got a van like this and you want to do something like this, get in contact. But yeah, thanks guys. See you in the next video. Right, this is just okay. So this is the underside of the van. Now, where did Bailey put the cooked bit? All right, here. So one thing we want to point out straight away: classic Caravan mobs. Just pulled these off. DC charger, BP connections. The cable is actually pinched the insulation, so it's not even got a good proper connection. But BPs and vehicles like this that rattle for days on end when you're using them, not a good mix. Not a good mix at all. But and then I get like this is honestly just standard in caravans these days in Australia. It's not nice at all. When I try and sell all like the BMPro bits and pieces for the customer. These batteries are a brand that is now not here in Australia. So I don't know if they just did one production run and what happened to them. But anyway, just want to show that. Oh, and then the solar. So the solar, actually, this was the ground terminal going into the top of the BMPro unit. This literally happened yesterday when the customer was cleaning the van, ready to bring it down to us here. It then actually broke off the metal terminal on top of the BMPro, the one in there. So I'm not sure it was actually the BMPro itself, because it was the roof array on the roof, which we've just confirmed. But on the roof it actually looked alright. But in saying that, there was no isolation switch on the system, and there wasn't any MC4 connectors. It just had H junctions on the roof. So that's what I said to the customers this morning. If it was done to standard, the install in the first place, the inline fuses would have stopped that happening there. So it's just a sort of miracle of the timing that, you know, it happens on a Sunday when you're cleaning out the van and you're taking it to get an electrical upgrade on the Monday. So anyway, 240. So we've got that up there, and then above the main door we've got the BMPro, which we will replace with the Victron. So boys are just on the roof cleaning up the panels, waiting on the panels to get here for an order, and I'm just doing a little continuity test mod here with the Anderson plug to try and absolutely confirm where it's going. This will be 10mm though, and not 16, which is good for our 50 amps. So we will rerun that with a, oh gee whiz, oh wow, can't get the thing in. Oh, there we go, I got it. 16mm for our 50 amp DC circuit system. So there's our inverter main isolator. Not sure if that's doing like the input and the output that was on that inverter, but the more we investigate it, the more we'll find it out. Done the math with our solar. Oh, and the antenna was also on the roof, which we have deleted. So, done our math on the solar, done our measurements, 100 water on the slanted bit, 220, 200, 220, 200, 200. That's aircon, max air, skylight, and the dust reduction. So, that gets us to a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 1,040. That's 1,140, if my maths is correct, which is pretty good for a single axle van of this size. That's pretty darn good. I'm just going to go inside now into the office, work out what the best situation to run the solar is, so whether to do a 30 and a 50 or 70 amp unit. I'll work that out now. Probably it all depends on the voltages with that 100 watt and what the voltage of that panel is, because I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. I know the 200 and 220s marry up sweet. And then the only other thing as well is, you'll notice, so like the front slanted bit is sort of like, I'll try and get up, I need to get a decent-ish video of it, but that front slanted bit, if, let's say, sun's coming up in the morning over the back here, and the panels on the roof are getting sun, but the panel on the front is slanted, like they're flat and that's slanted. That's what the one at the front is. Because that panel has got no sun on it at all, but the other 5 on the flat part do, if that panel at the front's in the same circuit, it's going to kill the efficiency of the roof array. So what we will look to do is separate that one. And because that old solar circuit burnt out, I'm going to look to run at least a new solar circuit to the roof anyway, so it's not the end of the world. And that'll just depend. We'll do some looking and work out what's the easiest way to get up to the roof, whether it's behind the fridge or up where we're going to take the servo cables. So that's the sort of next point of call, is doing roughing the inverter. And the cables and stuff are actually already there, but I want to rework that panel, put in a low voltage disconnect, give them the proper isolation somewhere near like the control panel or near the door. Maybe we'll do that. We might do the isolation switch up here in the control panel, because that projector screen is going to get deleted anyway, and then run the new solar behind the fridge.